I think it's fair to say that the career mode community aren't too impressed with what's happening to career mode this year. FIFA 23, the final FIFA before it's renamed to EA Sports Football, whatever it's called. And we're not getting much in this year's game. Us career mode fans, I mean, just go and look at the numbers. Go and look at the trailer for career mode. The numbers are insane. There is an audience for it, and it just feels like year after year, it's ignored. Now, I've got to be careful with what I say here because I do work with EA. I'm on the EA Game Changers network, and, you know, Alex and the developer team at EA, I know how much you care about career mode and adding things, and I know that you guys are limited with what you can do. It's quite a small team, and the code is really old, and adding new features can break it, and I get it, but I've got to make this video because over the last few days, I've just been, well, just really disappointed, and I've been doing this for so long, and it just feels like every year it's getting longer and harder to make my content interesting with this incredible game mode that just isn't where it should be. So this video it's quite simple, really. I've come up with a few ideas myself, and I've gone on to my socials. I've been on Twitter a lot, and I've got a lot of my fans' opinions, and those of you watching, thank you so much, because I've come up, and with you guys, with some great ideas, some small little tweaks for things that are already in the game. So this, in my opinion, I'm not a developer. And again, Alex, the conversations I've had with you, and if I say Alex, it's the guy who works with the career mode team. And I've spoken to him a few times, and I hope that some of these ideas can give you some inspiration. And maybe these are things that are somewhat easy to add. Just little tweaks to things that are already in the game, because it seems very clear to me and a lot of my fellow YouTuber friends that make career mode content that new features just aren't going to happen. Big new features because the code is old or whatever. So, side note, just before I continue though, thank you for all the well wishes. I am feeling a lot better. I haven't been very well for the last week or so. I feel like I'm coming back to full health, so I'm happy to be making another video today. And we're just going to get straight into it because, yeah, I don't need this video to go on for half an hour, and I don't think my throat's going to last that long. But anyway, the first thing, and we're going to go in order of what you see in the game. So first of all, when you start a career mode, what do you see? You kind of get the startup options. So this is my first idea. I want some more options that you can toggle on and off. Very simple, because there are already options there. It's just adding a few more. So the first one I've got here, and if I look over here, it's because I've got some notes. One thing that I've not liked about FIFA 22 is the artificial player boosts. When players have good morale and they're sharp and they've got good fitness levels, you can see some players getting like a +5 to a +7. That's great if that's what you want. Let us disable it though. I would love a player boost disable button. Just get rid of that. Obviously, you still want your players to be happy, fit, sharp, but it shouldn't necessarily boost their stats. That's just one thing straight away for me. I'd also like an option to sim the first season. One of the things I hate about career mode later on in the season, you know, the FIFA season from September to August or whatever, it feels very stale when you start a new career mode in the summer of the next year, where we are now, and you're starting at the beginning of the last season that just finished, if you know what I mean. I want to be able to sim, just jump 12 months. I don't see why that can't be added. It's just data, isn't it? You just make it up. Oh, I'm doing an Arsenal career mode. I've simmed the first season. Oh, I came 5th. You can just reload and do it again until you're happy or whatever. But just that'd be really cool. And another thing as well, to begin the season at a custom date. I know this might be a bit more tricky, but I was thinking about this. I can't see why it couldn't be added. Why can't I start the season in January? March? Why can't I start the season one game in? Every now and again, I'm watching a football match. Let's say you're watching Bayern versus Dortmund. And I'm like, oh, that Bayern team looks fun. I wouldn't mind doing a career mode with them. But you start the career mode, you make a few signings, and it already starts to feel a bit stale because you've gone all the way back to the start of the season and whatever. I would love to be able to jump in. Let's say I'm watching this game in November. Jump in November. It's already got the signings, and you've got that game to play. It would be just a really nice feature. That's the first thing. So just more startup options. Okay, so into my second point, we have pre-season customization. So pre-season tournaments, things like that. I think are, I mean, they're decent, but let's be honest, 99% of players don't play preseason. They either take one of the options given to them and sim it for the money, or they just don't do it at all. Actually, maybe 99% is a little bit harsh. Every now and again, I have done preseason, especially when we're at the point of FIFA now. I find it as it's a way of breaking the reality of where I am in that career mode. Preseason doesn't have a date on it. You know, what I like to do sometimes is start a career mode and play the preseason. You play against random teams, you get the new signings, and it's kind of fun. But I would like to be able to customize the preseason tournaments. I don't want randomly generated ones thrown at me and I just have to pick one. Why can't we pick a country? I mean, you could throw up 6 countries and I pick those countries, and then you throw up teams and you pick the teams. What you see in real life is, especially with clubs these days that have, you know, a huge following around the world, is they pick and choose where they go to increase how popular they are in certain markets. You see a lot of Asian tournaments. This year, Arsenal went to America with a bunch of other teams like Chelsea, just trying to go into markets that they don't necessarily dominate in so much. And it's a great way to raise money and raise awareness of the club, right? The reputation. So let me pick where I go and let me hand choose the teams. It could be a little bit broken, I guess. You could pick 1-star teams and just absolutely destroy that tournament and win the money. So why not limit it a little bit? You have to pick a 3-star team, a 4-star team, and a 5-star team in your group. Just give me more options. Make pre-season a little bit more fun and not so random. I want to go to Germany and I want to take on Dortmund, Hoffenheim, and maybe a Bundesliga 2 team. I think that'd be really cool. So just more pre-season customization with the tournaments and, you know, feeling like you're actually getting your squad ready for the season, because right now it feels a bit pointless. Okay, now point number 3 is probably the most unlikely to be added. I think this could be quite a lot of work, but I don't see why it couldn't be added in, because it's almost there already. I feel like what this idea is, you just duplicate what you've already got. So we've got the first team and the calendar, right? What if we have 2? So you have first team, under 23 team or academy team, first team calendar, and you have the academy team calendar. I mentioned this in the trailer review thing I did. I want an under 23 squad, a separate squad with randomly generated players, if that's the way it needs to be. If they can't fill it with names from real life, I get that, licensing, whatever. Randomly generated players, okay? And then you have those 2 squads separated. They have their own calendar. You don't even need those games to be real, okay? Match the exact same calendar between them, but everyone is made up in this category, okay? So over in the Youth Academy team, everything is fake. Fake player names, everything is randomly generated, because no one actually cares. What you're able to do, though, is find gems. Okay, and those games don't need to be played. They could be sim only. You just sim those results. It tells you who scored. You can pick and choose players to promote and demote between the 2 clubs. It would give us a whole new reason to do Youth Academy things. You give us Youth Academy targets, objectives, but realistically, you're putting a 16-year-old 45 rated player on the bench for Arsenal. It just doesn't happen. You put them in the under-23s and you can sim a few games and see how they get on. So an academy squad or an under-23 squad would be absolutely amazing. Just a separate place to demote players. Let's say you've got a 20-year-old in your team. You really think they're good, but they're not having a great time. You just demote them. They're still getting game time. They're still playing in the under-23s, and then you just promote them back into the first team when they're ready. And as I said, it doesn't have to be okay, I'm Arsenal, I'm playing Chelsea this weekend, and then I have to play the Chelsea game again with the under-23 squad. It doesn't have to be like that. It could just be literally a visionary, cosmetic thing only. You see those games in the background with random results, random players, but it's just a separate area to put players in and bring players in. And I would love to scout someone with the systems already in place and then just throw them into the under-23s and give them a couple of seasons there. Oh, I think that'd be so cool. Up next, we have contracts and negotiations. Very, very, very simple, because do you know what? It's not in a bad spot right now. When you negotiate for a player or you negotiate contracts, it's okay. There's other areas in the game that need improving, but there's such a simple thing. And I think actually someone in my Discord put this, and I thought it was an amazing idea. So if it was you, thank you. But what if you had to do contract offers in a completely different way to how it's done now. You have to put the contract together before you talk to the player and their agent. So you're in the menu, you're about to negotiate signing Ronaldinho, just plucking his name out of nowhere. You don't know how much he's going to want, but you've got a rough idea. Instead of negotiating with them, because I don't actually feel like that happens a lot these days. I think a lot of teams put an offer, a package together, send it to the agent, and then they can negotiate from there. In FIFA, in career mode, you kind of go into a restaurant and you're like, 50k, 60k, 55k, deal. And it's too simple. It's very rarely difficult. So what if you kind of have to go out on a whim and say, right, I'm willing to go to 60k, so let's put 50k in. You create this contract package and then you send it before you talk. It makes it so much more interesting and more intriguing trying to put together these incredible offers for players like Mbappe and Haaland, or maybe a new player that's a free agent. You don't quite know how much to offer, and it just adds a bit of the unknown. And I think that'd be a really neat way of signing players. I don't think you should be negotiating with the team. When you offer money first to agree a price, that's fine the way it is. But for the contract, I would love to put a contract together beforehand and then you send it away. And then they come back to you with, yes, we'll talk, or no, we're not interested. Done. I think that'd be really, really nice. And the next thing as well, such a simple thing. I don't know why this isn't a thing already, but buyback clauses. Why can I not sell a player, but just put in the contract 20 million buyback? So if in a couple of seasons I miss that player, I want him back, he goes on and does really well, 20 million and he's mine again. That happens in football all the time. How is it not in career mode? I don't know. Buyback clauses need to be added. Now, this next point was highly requested. I got a lot of this on Twitter. Stats. We all love stats. We love to see what we did at the end of the game, how many shots we had, how much possession we had. And they added a lot last season. The stats page is massively improved. But one thing we're still missing is history stats. Things from a couple of seasons ago. When I'm signing a player, I want to know, how many goals did he get last season? And the season before that? Say you're 5 seasons in and you found a player with 6 months remaining on his contract. You've never heard of him before. Looks decent. Look at his stats. How many goals has he scored? Now, obviously, it doesn't really mean anything because it would have been CPU generated, but it's just a cool realism feature that I would absolutely love. And it's not just for that example, but I want to know after 6 seasons how my team have progressed. I don't care how many goals I got this year. That's more recent information. It's already in my head. I want to go back to season 1 and 2 and see how I've progressed. Why is that not a thing? There's already some stats that you can see. If you go into your manager, office, whatever it's called, you can see how many wins you've had, how many goals you've scored, how many titles you've won, your biggest result, your worst result. Why can't we just have a look at individual player stats from seasons before? I don't understand that. But also when you're scouting a player, why isn't there a view historic stats? I don't know. That would be a really, really simple feature, I think. It's just recording stats and placing them somewhere, right? It can't be that difficult. Now we're going into some of the other things that maybe aren't as important, but still good ideas nonetheless. So we see club transfers happening a lot, player transfers, and sometimes people complain they're unrealistic. But to be fair, it's randomly generated. They use some algorithms. Sometimes you see some weird ones, but in general, I don't think it's too bad at the moment. But what I would love to see is manager transfers as well. Why are we not seeing Pep Guardiola at Liverpool after a few seasons or something like that? That's probably a bit mad, but you get what I mean. Why after 1, 2, 3 seasons are we not seeing loads of managerial movement? It happens more than player transfers, it seems, these days. We can move. When we get fired, we move to a new club. I don't see why I can't play Bournemouth after a few years and they've got some other manager. It'd be really cool. And I don't know how difficult that would be. It's just randomly assigning. Look, for people that don't know, I mod FIFA a lot, so I'm aware of kind of like the database and the numbers and the things like that. Everything in FIFA is assigned an ID. Every player has an ID. A manager has an ID. A stadium has an ID. When I changed the stadium in my MGH career mode, which is coming back soon, by the way, I just changed the ID number to a different stadium and you save it. Why can I do that myself? I could change a manager very easily. I could put Pep Guardiola to Aston Villa if I wanted to, and then Gerrard to Dortmund or whatever. It's just changing numbers. So why is there no system in the game that can randomize that? Manager transfers would be pointless, but also pretty cool. And then we've got quick fire ones here. Fake sponsors. Why are we not able to add random fake sponsors on the Creator Club shirts? You see it in Volta. You see it in other EA titles. They just throw in random names. You look at GTA, for example, when they've got, instead of Sprite, they've got Sprunk. You know, they've got these random, what's the word I'm looking for? Just brands, you know, just random sponsors that EA can put in themselves. Even just an EA Sports sponsor would be quite cool. Just have a blank shirt doesn't really make sense. And I don't see why they couldn't add fake sponsors. Sister clubs. This is a weird one, but also a great one to solve one of the biggest issues in the game for me, and that is loaning players is too difficult when you're at big clubs. Why can't we select a sister club? You know, if you're taking Everton, maybe you want a sister club in League Two. You pick a team that you affiliate with, and then you can loan players directly to them. You just send them there. Why not? Can't be too difficult, right? You just pick a club that you like, that you want to have affiliation with. They're your sister club. It's very popular in real life. Look at Chelsea and Vitesse. They loan all sorts of youngsters out there. So I don't see why not. This one I'm not so sure about, but I've added in anyway. I don't think this is possible with the coding as it is, but an expanded bench would be amazing. Why are we limited to having such a small amount of players on the bench? If you look in real life, in some Premier League games or any league, you can have up to 10 players on the bench. Why aren't we able to have more players on the bench? It doesn't hurt anyone. You can still only bring a certain amount on. So, and if it's something they don't want because of realism or whatever, just make it something that you can toggle. Extended bench, expanded bench, whatever you want to call it. And then lastly, I love this idea. So simple, right? But what if before the game, when you go to choose what kit you're wearing, why isn't there 3 sliders where you can change the shirt, the socks, and the shorts? Why can I not play in the home kit with the away shorts and the third kit socks? Again, it's not a big thing, but it would give us some more customization. Pre-season, you want to mix it up a little bit. I think that's genius. I love that idea. I really do. And with the fake sponsors as well, maybe you could change the sponsor on your shirt, and that's a brand new kit every year. Anyway, guys, quite a simple but I guess kind of complicated video as well, because I don't know. We don't know what the developers can and can't do. I know they're limited with adding new features that completely change the way the game plays, but these ideas I've gone through, surely they're just slight adjustments. They're little things that you tweak, things that are already in the game. And I think it could go a long way to change how the game feels. And before everyone says it, yeah, a lot of these things are in Football Manager. Go and play that if you want to. But I want career mode to have more Football Manager things with it. And honestly, Alex, again, I'm mentioning you. I don't know if you watch my videos, but if you do, I'd love to chat. Again, we've had a few conversations in the past. I haven't really been involved in FIFA 22 so much, so maybe I've done something wrong. I don't know. I have a passion for career mode. I wouldn't have made 3,000 videos on it if I didn't love it. And I'm an open book. I'd happily share more ideas. The amount of times I've sent wish lists into EA over the years, and I've got so many ideas. So would always happily be a part of development. But yeah, I'm going to stop before my voice just completely disappears. By the way, it wasn't COVID. Me and my wife have been sick for a week now. We have no idea what it is. It's probably just a normal cold/flu, but I don't know how I've still managed to avoid COVID. So we're on the mend. And tomorrow is Arsenal kicking off the new season. So Operation Arsenal is going to be back.